heard concerns and frustrations with technology. Oh, burnout is a tricky word and a tricky concept. Because I never know if the burnout is short-term or long-term. Cassie, I am not talking to you, okay? There's no part of my being right now that can handle this. What I'm getting at is that it's Friday. I am tired as all get out, and I'm working on a video project that I've been working on since Christmas, essentially. And it is behind schedule. It needs to be done basically by today, in the next 3 hours. And I'm like 8 hours away from having it finished. And I'm totally burnt out on it. And so I already know it's going to be over deadline. And it is already over motivation budget. So it's a slog. It's an absolute slog. It's absolute work. This is kind of another log in a long marking over the last 3 or 4 years where I've experienced these episodes of confusion and a dreamlike state. It's always relatively temporary, just maybe a couple. It's very intense for maybe 20 to 30 seconds, and then it goes away and kind of ebbs and flows in a less and less extreme state. But it's difficult for me even now to gather my thoughts to explain it. But I get these periods of, I guess brain fog is as close of a description as I can come, like officially. But these kind of weird things where I'm feeling like I'm losing grip with reality, and I'm feeling like I'm living in a dreamlike state. And I've had many potential explanations for these very temporary moments of this feeling. I've tied it very close to low blood sugar before, and now I believe maybe I'm associating it with stress just because I had such a one-to-one comparison just now, thanks to documentation of video, of a moment of stress. Now, not extreme stress, light stress. And then I had, even now I'm struggling a little bit to grab on to reality. It feels like I'm dreaming. It's this feeling of confusion. It's this feeling like I'm having a hard time gathering my thoughts. And it comes on extraordinarily intense for about 30 seconds. And then it goes away, and then it kind of comes back, but not quite as intense, and ebbs and flows like a ripple effect, like in water, the most intense point, and then it comes and goes less and less with severity with each time. But again, right now I'm having a moment where I'm struggling to remember what I was even talking about initially, but I believe I was sitting down here on the computer, and then I went up to take a shower. And while I was getting ready to take the shower, I had a very, not the most intense I've ever had it, but a very intense moment of this sort of confusion. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just documenting this as a moment of stress, as a possible cause. Not like this was the most extreme stress I've felt in the last 3 months or anything like that. I wouldn't even really call it significant stress, but it was a moment of stress, and so I just want to log this as a potential cause of one of these, for the lack of a better explanation, brain fog. I've heard it tied to long COVID. I've heard it tied to many things. Long COVID, the only reason why that one doesn't quite feel like a possible explanation is because I've been experiencing this long before COVID was around. But yeah, it's difficult to describe and proving to be very difficult to diagnose or to identify. But it's very disorienting and a very scary feeling, because I feel like over the last few years, every time I get it, it's a little bit more intense each time. And I would liken it to being very, very high, because when you're in it, you have this sort of fear that you're never going to come down out of it. And so the whole experience is pretty stressful.